Good evening, everyone, all of you here. My name is Ulysses Dietz. I'm the chief curator at the Newark Museum and the curator of decorative arts and the curator of jewelry, which is why I'm here. And I have the distinct honor and anxious pleasure of interviewing Kaminski, one of the most important, or the most important. I don't want to make anybody angry, but contemporary studio jewelers in Israel, known well in this country and abroad. Someone I've known for many years, and I want to talk to her about her process, about her current work. But being a curator and being involved in history, I have to delve back into the past a little bit, because I see echoes of earlier things in the material here this evening. And the piece of yours that sticks in my mind most from the exhibition Women's Tales of some years ago, I've even lost track of it, that was at the Newark Museum, and then I've even forgotten where it was.
It started out at Racine.
Oh, at the Racine Art Museum, and then at the Newark Museum, and eventually at the Israel Museum.
Yes.
And you're no stranger to Jerusalem. And the piece that the Newark Museum acquired from that was based on a group of stones that you picked up in Jerusalem, and then caged in gold wire, which has been featured in that catalog and in your other catalog, your big catalog raisonné. And the echoes of that are here. This theme of stone and the sort of connection of stone, which is ancient but still there, still alive today, and with the ancient city of Jerusalem. And I noticed that you sort of dismiss Tel Aviv as this modern place, and Jerusalem is where your heart is.
It's a fun place. It's a fun place.
Because it's fun?
No, it's not serious.
Tel Aviv. It's frivolous, huh? Anyway, we won't. I'm not doing this. I'm in New Jersey, and New York's right there, so we're not going to go into these geopolitical things. But the stones. There's many things I want you to talk about, but talk first about the meaning of the stones and how that kind of found object first began to enter your work.
Yeah, stones, as everybody knows, it's one of the main materials used in jewelry since ever, or that's what's left, because other materials disappeared with the time. Stones and metal, and usually the stone were important because people gave value to it because of beliefs and magic power that they gave them. And the metal usually,
You stay there. I'm going to grab things gently because I'm a curator and I know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah, for example,
as you were saying that, so the lapis lazuli and the turquoise, both of which are associated with antiquity.
It was very important in Egypt. And
as was turquoise.
Yes, and they brought it from Afghanistan, or it was not there. They bring it from other places because it was important, because, I don't know why, but I imagine because belief of God, which is in the sky is blue, or things like this, or the water of the sea, and the shining of the gold, which is the sun, maybe, on earth.
So in ancient Egypt, but in Tibet, in Hinduism, all at the same time, all these stones mean actually the same thing to all these different cultures. So that's the nerdy curator speaking.
For example, these eyes which you see here and there in my work, the blue eyes, which are sign of protection of God. And in the Middle East, we don't have blue eyes, but we still have this magic eye that protect us. Because God is in the sky is blue, or something like this. I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows exactly, but.
So the transition so you've got a piece of stone.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, although you didn't find this on the ground.
No, I bought it.
I don't think you find chunks of lapis floating around.
But this I found on the ground
in
the Central Park, New York.
Well, no, here we have the other mythic stone. This is a very classic stone that everybody who lives in New York should know. This is Central New York schist. This is what all the boulders in Central Park are made out of. And it's also related to the kind of stone that a great lot of early Indian sculptures are made out of. It's very hard,
Yeah.
and it doesn't wear away. It lasts forever. It doesn't
It's hard, but it's
acid
not.
rain.
But it's not strong.
It's brittle. It shatters because of all the whatever that sparkly stuff is. So what's so how did you make the step from stones, the sort of most elemental
What missing-
jewelry material, to this the cement and concrete?
The cement
material?
is a replacement of the stones because you can use it easily, as in houses. You use cement, you use concrete because you can cast it instead of cutting the stone from the heel, and it's hard work.
So these little Star of David brooches I love because they feel like terrazzo floors, and
Yes,
that's what but it's something that's very commonplace in the
Yes.
newer building.
In Israel, every house has them.
And
has
as
this.
I was saying, these are very big in places like Miami and South Florida too. These terrazzo
hot
floors are very
countries,
modern,
yes.
are very sort of post-World War II. And so, but how does that differ from pieces like this? Now these are, you explained the process of these. These look like tessellated floors. And this is an ancient pattern that goes back, you
Yes.
see it in Rome.
We see them a lot in Tel Aviv, this kind of floor tiles.
But done in
Yellow.
stone.
No, not in stones, in concrete.
Oh, done in concrete in the same way.
Yeah.
And this is cement.
Yes.
Is this the same material on the back?
Yeah, this is white cement with pigments, and this is a gray cement at the back.
And so this is sort of reflecting the stones that you pick up off the ground or buy.
There is a big
the idea, these are
process
sort of-
that's missing here. But anyway, I came back to concrete after many years that I didn't work with it because I tried to make sand in the bottle, like you see in the bracelet there.
Yes, I want to get to that, but I'm too far to walk over there,
Yeah,
but
you
I'm not
can
quite
sit
ready
here.
to take one,
Here,
so hold
here.
one there.
No, it's here.
Because well, this is a fragment
Yeah.
of one. So actually, so hand me one then, Patty.
Because
that's the...
it's the same meanings. People sell it.
Because this
the
whole
Bedouins make
series
it.
is the sand in the bottle series.
Yes, but usually the Bedouins sell it in the desert where they produce them as a souvenir.
So this is inspired by those souvenirs
Yes.
which cropped up for the first time in the 19th century at World's Fairs. And
Yeah.
I don't know if they came from Palestine originally, from the Holy Land,
I don't know.
for American tourists, but you could buy these scenic landscapes in bottles, and they still exist from the 19th century. And I've never quite understood how they were one of these curiosities
How
that were
they make
huge tourist attractions 150 years ago in the United States. But they were imported from the Middle East, and so that's what. Are they still being made?
Yes.
Is this something that's
In
still going
Jordany,
on?
I know they're doing it.
So in this one, you've got. You obviously see the
Yeah,
contour of the bottle, but so
I
how
try-
did you decide to riff on that?
I tried to do them without the battle, to make the sand in the battle without the battle. So I need concrete to glue the sand. So I learned to make this technique that the Bedouins do by looking at YouTube. And
And their modern world intrudes. There we are.
but I went to the desert to collect the sand of different colors. And I tried to do it, and it was very hard. I tried different techniques, not only the same technique they use, because when it's concrete, it doesn't work the same way. So it was very difficult. So I tried to do it flat, like the floor tiles, and then bend it when it was still soft. So it's all changed. It's not easy anyway. But then I understood that what's the drawings on these battles, the drawings are landscapes of the desert. And I understood that it's not really the landscape, it's a drawing of a landscape, which is the reflection of what's surrounding where you are standing. And then I understood that what I'm doing many years already, it's a reflection of our surrounding. Like the bracelet of Leonora. You see?
I see.
with the faces, it's like mirror. Because when I made the group of the bubbles soap, the soap bubbles, it was also has effect of mirror. So you see your face, like you see it here.
I see. Yeah. So
Reflection.
it's a mirror image, and sort of
Yeah.
this is a 360-degree view
Yes.
turned inside out.
Yeah,
in a
and
sense.
the horizon is here at the middle, instead of around you.
So, but when did you, now? I'm tripping over my own questions because
Yes,
I have
so
several I want to ask because
I want to say
know that
other
I know
things.
that these because there's the sort of landscape issue and I love these because of that landscape thing. So should we go there first or should I go back over here onto these more scenic ones? So I actually I'll just grab this because I thought these were so funny. They looked so familiar and I could, this is a kind of a landscape that isn't about the desert. This is very much an urban landscape.
Yes.
Because you explained to me that these are traffic islands
Yes.
in the middle of the intersections. And of course,
It's
I
a joke.
instinctively knew what they were, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And I love that idea because that's pretty,
It's a joke.
it is. It's so,
We play,
as much
we
of
play
modern
with
urban
sand
life
here.
is. So to go back to I'll try not to fall over my cord. I'll shuffle gracefully over here. So dealing with these, let's look at these sort of mandala-like pieces.
Yeah.
But so you were telling me that the process involved in these, and I have a purpose in asking you this. It's not random. I'm now all tangled up in my cord. I have no idea where'd it go. Oh, there. I just don't want to fall or, well, I don't know, let's try not to fall. Because what this was about is the process, it's almost like a cloisonné process. And the reason I was intrigued by that, of course I'd find one that actually looked more like it, but this, which is like a tile floor pattern,
Yes.
all done with these very finely put together. This is silver,
Yes.
and this, of course, to me evokes the work you were doing back when you were a student in Paris, where you were starting
Yes.
out, when you were learning this sort of very precise, kind of obsessively precise, which I love. That's really very me. Metal work, and that you actually use this as the template for these inlaid concrete pieces, cement pieces, and then you pull it out?
Not always. Sometimes yes, and here, for example, I did it without a frame, just put the
So
sand.
this is just freehand. And
Freehand,
now,
exactly.
how do you color the different sands or the
With pigments.
So these are, and so this. Wait a minute. Now I'm confusing myself. So this is. Are these pigmented as well?
No.
So these are the natural sand materials, but these are pigments
Yes.
that you've mixed into the cement.
Yeah. In India also they put pigments when they do the mandalas.
Well, yes. Oh, so but this is yet another. We've already referred to Tibet once here. So this is the idea of those sand mandalas, which
Yes.
are kind of ancient but ephemeral, which I've seen,
Exactly.
I've witnessed being done right here in New Jersey.
Really?
And so you're doing this but you're not
It's
literally
made,
doing
it's
it with
made
loose
like
sand.
this. Backside, I put drops of colored cement in different places. I wait a little bit. I put more, and then I cover it with gray concrete with the pins.
Without messing it up?
I can wait. I can wait even a year and do it later.
So you let these set, so they become somewhat solid?
Maybe I don't really remember because I did it in so many different ways and different time. It's like cooking without the recipe.
That seems like I'm repeating myself. I'm trying to think of
And I have another technique which I use here, like you play on the beach with the sand.
The sand drips.
Yes.
Now, do you do anything to this, or do you
Yeah,
fire
I
this?
did
or
it
do you-
exact-
But you
No.
let it dry?
I put
just
it on
dry?
sand, so when I drop the concrete, it became hard very quickly, exactly like you do on the beach.
So the concrete just self-hardens. You don't have to do it. Cures itself, so you don't have to worry about it. Now tell me, because I've seen these. There are several little groups of camels and donkeys, but I'm particularly smitten with the ones behind our artist friends.
Yes.
So these are almost like found objects lurking around Jerusalem and have been
Yes, souvenirs.
for well over a century and a half anyway, these little souvenirs of beasts of burden. And so what struck you to pick those and to start using them as a motif
Is
for
what I
your
see
jewelry?
around me. And also, you know, it's like the stones that people want to have them as souvenir from a trip or from place they were in.
And people do pick up stones. I mean, that was sort of
Yes.
souvenir geological collections where you would label a place where it came from.
Yes.
I've also seen science collections where you have sand from different places. And
Yes.
bottles of water from the Jordan River are actually quite
Exactly.
big
Or
as
air
tourists.
from Israel.
Oh, air? Well, air, I hadn't noticed
No.
air before.
in a conserve box, you know.
I'll gracefully work my way back here. So, I'm very intrigued by these because these just the little pebbles that sort of emphasize the notion of the random found pebble, but these are much more intentional. And
Yes.
talk about these lockets, these pendants, which you
Yeah.
call stone lockets because they've been cleaved in two parts.
Yeah.
So, talk about
I
those. I mean, they're so
start,
very simple, but they have.
I broke the stones after I made stones of silver. I casted silver
Right, which is.
at the form of a stone. And when it was casted, I could repeat it. And when it was repeated, I could make it like this. Anyway, after replacing stones by metal, I came back to stones and I broke them. And then I found...
So how do you, I mean, I know this sounds idiotic,
How?
but you
Yeah.
just,
I
you
put
use a
it
chisel or you just hit it?
between two chisels.
So you're
so
very
you
careful,
feel-
you're cleaving it as if it's a gemstone. You're being very careful because you want a clean break.
I did so many, some of them succeed. And in every stone,
They all succeed.
yes. But in every stone, you find the secret. And you don't know what's inside, and you become a stoneaholic. You
Yes.
can't stop doing it because
A
you
rock
always...
hound is what we call them here. So now this looks like a piece of tiger eye.
Exactly.
So
I buy it- I
so
buy
on
it.
the outside it's just gray, and that's the concrete on the
Yes.
back.
No,
But
it
you-
was
but you-
polished.
but
I
you-
bought it polished and I cut it. It was polished. I bought it as a polished stone.
And then, but
You know
but you broke it in half.
Yes.
And you were talking to me about, it was interesting because it's not just that
Yeah.
you've got this mirror image.
The mirror image
But
is
you've also
with
got the
colors.
three-dimensional,
Yes.
you've got the
with the
volume.
color, you have a mirror image, but from the three-dimensional point of view, it's negative, positive on the same time. So it's difficult to understand. Just when you see it, you can understand it.
Well, and it's one of those things that it's easy to understand when you point it out, but it might not leap out at you. That there's a lot of sort of intuitive feel for the material in these that I'm not sure most people think of when they kick a pebble across the street as they're walking around. But I love these, particularly with the pendants that are sort of, there's something
like
that makes you
lockets.
think, this gets very kind of, the lockets that are separated, that they only function when they're together. I mean, this is out of
Yeah.
ancient sort of mystical romance.
You
kind
see,
of
I
thing.
based
You can see
on
where my mind goes.
I based on the history of jewelry, of how people use jewelry for.
I have a cartoon in my office, and it shows a caveman standing next to his wife, and she's got a big rock on a thong, and she's like this, and he says, "I don't think this jewelry thing's going to work." But you see, you found a way to make it wearable. Is there anything else you'd like me to point out and ask you about?
I
I'm
just
trying to think.
want to-
We've covered a lot of
I-
ground, but I'm not sure it's been coherent. But then why be coherent now, so late in my career? These two, now it was interesting, you talked about using the
Frame.
the framework in these two pieces.
Yeah. So I use the frame as we do in the floor tiles, and here I could get it out, and here it was stuck in the concrete.
Because
So I
it
left
was, once
it was
the,
too small. The cells were very small, and the concrete didn't go out.
didn't want to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
So you
And
left
also
it in, and
those-
do you polish the surface afterward? So this is, so that becomes like a cloisonné enamel then.
Exactly.
It's the same.
It's exactly the
Where did I
same.
get these? These there. And the same with these, but these were more intentional because you sort of, or did you just figured you weren't going to
No,
fight
I
it?
wanted to take it out, but I
But it
couldn't.
didn't.
Yeah.
And yet it's beautiful. It's a nice effect. That's one of those happy accidents from working. And that reminded me, because that's when I went back to this. So this was really then just intended to be one of your metal pieces with a little bit of this terrazzo floor in it.
Yeah, it's the form of a flower, which is also interesting because why people decorate themselves with flowers, why they think flower is beautiful. I talk about it at my lecture that the forms and the colors of flowers meant to attract animals, insects. So why we think it's beautiful and we decorate with this.
And then we interpret beauty as something other than food or some other kind of attraction, but then it takes on meaning for us as humans simply because of the beauty. The beauty
But
makes
what,
it.
why it's
But why?
considered as beautiful?
Well,
It's not obvious.
well, no, it's not. But it's the same way. Why do we wear jewelry? What's that instinct to ornament?
No, it's not. It's nothing to do with beauty. Came after. First, people use it for a certain purpose. For example, to protect themselves from bad eye or
Yeah, but
magically, or they gave importance by beliefs of things. For example, the ring of the king, okay, that was his stamp.
the seal, the signet.
It was identity card. And after, now you can go in every shop, you see rings with the form of this stamp ring.
the
Why?
signet,
What
yeah.
beauty? It's not. It's beautiful because it was important before, and many things developed like this.
But people who write about colored stones, the reason the stones are important is that they're beautiful and unexpected. So the beauty is what starts it. And I heard someone was talking about finding
That I
rubies,
don't know.
and he said the first person who found a ruby crystal in a riverbed thought it was magic from the gods, so that made it instantly important and magical. And then, so the beauty
so
of
first
it
the
was,
beauty, but why?
So that's like chicken and
But
the egg.
no, I don't think so because everything considered as beauty if it's for survival. But this is not for survival. Why we think it's beauty?
Well, I don't know. I didn't sign on to do philosophy. But no,
Me neither.
because it is interesting because humans are the only creatures who intellectualize the idea of beauty, and we assume that flowers are beautiful for us. But in
But
fact,
the bowerbird,
the bowerbird, I was
she
thinking
bring
of that.
blue stones to show her partner.
Yeah, and they're well anyway. Now we're getting into a natural history argument, but you're right. That I was thinking that, but there aren't a lot of animals that do that.
No,
Crows like to steal shiny things, so there is.
but the
But
peacock.
peacock. But are they aware of what they look like? Anyway, now we've gone way off the rails on the topic here. So can we ask people questions?
Point out that the piece you picked up over these two that you spoke about were much earlier pieces. They're from 91.
Oh, so these are early pieces.
Yeah.
They don't just echo your early pieces. They
Yes, they are. They're from the beginning of the 90s.
Yeah. And also,
And also the toys there. When my
Oh,
child
so
was small.
the things cast from your son's toys, and these are all early pieces.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
From the beginning of the 90s.
That's why they look familiar
and
to me.
the second necklace in.
Okay.
Right.
And this too?
This part is older, and then I took it from somewhere, and I add the other part to it.
So what are these cast from? What are these?
It's olive brains.
They are olive pits.
Yes,
That's
you
what I
know, in
thought
the
they were.
old
That's
city,
great.
you can find the beads necklaces made of olive grains, and you can find also necklaces, bead necklaces with only the wood shaped as, you know, just round, like. But of course, it came after
and these are cast in the cement.
Yes.
But these I remember, your sort of wire and stone. That's the
Yes.
older one.
You see the metal
chicken
here
wire mesh.
used to set the stones as many times in jewelry because it's softer, so you can hold the stones with the metal. But when you have concrete, you don't need metal anymore.
No, these cement too,
Yes,
with just a different color.
with pigments.
So, Patty, should we ask some questions or?
Does anyone have any covered
No.
ground? No? All right,
Well,
thank you.
I think we'll let you free
Thank
and
you.
you can talk to your fans face to face. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was at her lecture at Brooklyn Metalworks the other night. So after hearing her lecture, it was really great to see the work here. She just has a lot of input, and she uses all of the input to do what she's doing. One of the surprising things is how light everything is, even though it's made of concrete and sand. Everything is very, very lightweight, so it's very easy to wear, and jewelry is very important.
Yeah, I think Vered is a master of her craft. I'm amazed at what she sees and the vision she has for what she sees and how she can make such beautiful pieces with found objects, as well as making something that looks like a found object. It never occurred to me to make fractures of stones or take cement and make it into something so beautiful the way she does.
I think it's just absolutely phenomenal. The range of work that she has here, as I was just saying that this one piece here in particular reminds me of a Japanese print. I'm seeing so many different things in each one of her pieces. I never would have thought that that was a traffic pattern. It looks more like a dartboard to me, but it's just absolutely phenomenal. I think the work is amazing. I love the feel. I'm a very tactile person, so I love the different feels, the different textures that her work has.
So this is a piece from a show that Vered had that was showing at the Newark Museum, and I fell in love with the piece because her ability to work with such fine metal, solder it together, and make faces. I've never seen anyone do such incredibly detailed work with soldering, and I had to have it because I was so impressed with her level of expertise in handling the metal and also making beautiful expressive faces.